Right, so what we need to do first is obviously let's get some power. Let's make sure we're good. So it's a 240. So just into a standard extension lead. These are great obviously for residential. If you're working on building sites, etc., you're going to want a 110 volt, the yellow 110 volt step down. For these units, we reckon a 3 kV, not a 1.5, okay? Just a bit of a heads up. So turn the power on, okay? Make sure we've got power. Lovely. There's nothing better than the sound of a new Tritech just firing up. Oh, it's just sexy as hell. Right, so what we've got, like I say, is we've got the buckets of water. So one's empty, one's just got the water in. What we're going to do is pop out the suction tube and the dump tube. So let's just go through this. Let's just break these two apart. Okay, there's a clip here. I personally don't use it, but you guys have got it by all means. The big tube, okay, is the suction tube, so that obviously goes in the water. So the smaller hose is the return tube, but we refer to it as the dump tube. The reason being is the prime valve that you can see here, okay, is in two positions. The down is for dump, so we're dumping water, dumping pressure, dumping paint. When we click it this way, it's what we call in line. So it's in line with the hose and the gun. So clearly, water or paint is going to go in one of two directions. Down for the dump, in line to the hose. That's pretty much it. When you're priming at the moment, what we've got is, technically we've got oils and packing agents within the machine and air inside the hose. So we want to transfer it, obviously, for water. So what we'll do is put it in the down position into dump. We're going to increase the pressure, which is going to suck the water through the intake tube, through the manifold filter and out of the dump tube. So we've obviously ran in the dump position for a little while. You can't really see it on camera, but if you were doing it, you will see what I mean. So you're going to run the bucket of water until it runs dry, and then we're going to discard that, and what we're going to do is we're going to start with another bucket of water to get the air out of the hose. So let's do that as well. Cool. Right, so what we need to do is we need to obviously get the air out of the hose till it's running water. So what we do is, first thing, remove the guard. So lift the trigger lock up. As you can see, there's a little hook just here. If you've got your finger on the trigger and you try and do it, it's going to get caught on that little bit there. So the trick is push forward, look. See the difference? Push forward, and then it'll lift up fine. So the first thing we're going to do is turn the prime valve in line, so obviously it's coming to the gun. We're going to pull the trigger, so therefore it's open, and then we're going to increase the pressure and carry on running until water comes through. Water's coming out, everything's good. So what we want to do now is check all the connections under pressure. So what I do is I put the gun away from me. So the gun and the whip hose connections are further away. And obviously we've got this one here where the gauge is. What I'm going to do is just gently increase the pressure and watch what happens. Okay, 500 PSI. So far, no leaks. And also, if there was a leak, you'd see the pressure fluctuating. So I'm just going to keep turning the pressure up until it's full. Right, as we can see, we've got a little drip just kicking down by the gauge there. And you can also hear the machine just kick in a little bit. So that pressure is going to drop a little bit. So this is good, okay? Sometimes you're going to get this on any of the connections. So as I'm talking, the pressure is going to drop and then the machine's going to kick in yet again to pull it back up. So what we need to do is quite simply turn the pressure down. The only way to drop the pressure is either by pulling the trigger, but ideally the best way is to use the prime valve. Just gently watch, push down. All the way until it clicks. Done. As you can see, we've got a little bit of a leak. So all we're going to do is hold the gauge and we're just going to turn it just a little bit more. Okay? Just wipe that. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to move the machine. I'm going to slide it back. Now, if it carries on leaking, obviously it's going to be in a new position. So let's try this again. Back in line, and we want the pressure to come up. So now what we're looking for is that feels dry. That now feels dry. Let's see what happens. That's at full pressure, which is 3,300 psi. And now what we're doing is we're looking for any leaks. We know there's no leak at the gun or the whip hose. There was a little drip just here. Well, that's now dry. All it needed was a little nip with the spanner. That's it, we're all good to go.